I think the union budget which has been presented by the Honorable Finance Minister sets the direction right, sets the Viksit Bharat roadmap right.
यूथ से लेकर के, गर्ल्स से लेकर के, विमेन से लेकर के, स्टार्टअप्स तक भी, एग्रीकल्चर, मतलब कोई ऐसा एरिया लगता नहीं जो उन्होंने छोड़ दिया है.
I will give 10 out of 10 to the budget.
वित्त मंत्री ने जो अभी बजट अनाउंसमेंट की है उसमें एक बहुत वाइड रेंजिंग उन्होंने एरिया कवर किया है. यूथ से लेकर के, गर्ल्स से लेकर के, विमेन से लेकर के, स्टार्टअप्स तक भी, एग्रीकल्चर, मतलब कोई ऐसा एरिया लगता नहीं जो उन्होंने छोड़ दिया है. उन्होंने कई एरियाज में स्पेशल फोकस नया दिया है. जैसे मल्टीनेशनल्स को स्पेशल फोकस दिया है, ईस्टर्न एरिया के डेवलपमेंट को स्पेशल फोकस दिया है, स्टार्टअप्स को और एनकरेज करने के लिए स्पेशल फोकस दिया है. और जो एम्प्लॉयमेंट जनरेशन और एम्प्लॉयमेंट एनकरेजमेंट के जो प्रोग्राम हैं वो बहुत एनकरेजिंग फीचर्स हैं. वो ज़रूरी भी थे इस समय, क्योंकि जो सबसे बड़ी हमारी जो दिक्कत इस समय लगती है वो जो फीलिंग ऑफ जॉबलेसनेस है उसको एड्रेस करने के लिए जो उन्होंने किया ये सोसाइटी के लिए और कंट्री के लिए अच्छा रहेगा.
कॉर्पोरेट टैक्स और पर्सनल इनकम टैक्स पे जो उन्होंने
कॉर्पोरेट टैक्स में उन्होंने कोई खास फर्क नहीं किया. वो मल्टीनेशनल के ऊपर किया है जो मेनली है. जो पर्सनल इनकम टैक्स है वो अच्छा है. लोअर इनकम के उन्होंने टैक्स कम कर दिया है. सो ओवरऑल उन्होंने अपनी तरफ से 17,000 करोड़ का बेनिफिट दिया है थ्रू टैक्सेस. सो एनकरेजिंग ओवरऑल सिस्टम. और जो उन्होंने नॉन फाइनेंशियल एसेट्स पे टैक्स किया और शॉर्ट टर्म कैपिटल गेन जो किया है 20 से 12%, वेरी वेलकम.
So I think there were a few issues which came out very strongly and clearly in the budget. Number one, as we had seen the economic survey, the participation from all around in the economy which is required, the partnership which was talked in the economy was very well reflected into the budget. So while we will see a focus on capex to an extent, we had asked for 25%, that was not to be, but that doesn't matter because we have seen huge focus on areas like, say, for instance, the rural economy. So that's a very important area that one can see, which will generate a lot more, not only elevate poverty or rural economy, but would also get into a lot of non-agricultural rural jobs because there was a lot of talk about MSMEs and the rural business enterprises. That's one segment. Second is the employment generation focus. The focus through ELI, that was a big area of announcement today, as one sees. And that was something which we have been talking about for quite some time, and it's great to see that in the budget. The third piece is the focus on the mid-size and the small companies and their participation. I think that's to make matters simple for them, to see how they can be assessed towards credit. Credit is a big issue for the small companies. So the third piece, which is good, which will very important piece which I saw was the incentivization of the states, incentivizing states to participate in the next generation of reforms. So linking that incentives to how much they reform is a great move ahead. And of course, one must also talk about the way taxation has been dealt with. So there is a lot of incentive towards moving towards a new tax regime, and also money in the hands of the people, especially the middle class and below. I think that is something which has been done very, very prudently. So on the whole, we see this budget to be focused on how do we get greater economic participation, participation from all sections of the country into the economy and well-being for everyone. And very importantly, it is kept to the path of fiscal prudence, while even looking at how the government spends are there in the right directions.
I think the union budget which has been presented by the Honorable Finance Minister sets the direction right, sets the Viksit Bharat roadmap right. She spoke about job creation, she spoke about women empowerment and MSME and SMEs creation, and also spoke about agriculture. I think India's growth trajectory has to be maintained. Manufacturing and agriculture have to play a key role. So I think that's a good setup that has been created. Also, she spoke about the ease of doing business, especially litigation with the tax and other authorities like TDS, which have been decriminalized to a point. So I think an overall it's a good budget. It's a growth budget. She's also removed the angel tax, which means the startups which have been demanding will benefit from that.
Mhm. How do you see the incentives for manufacturing and the skilling sector?
I think both government has been very on manufacturing. The PLI schemes that have been already put in place, this will also give a boost to that. Especially electronic manufacturing in India is taking shape because India is now will start even furthering the manufacturing base which is needed. So I think it's moving in the right direction. Skill and reskilling is an extremely important job of the government and private sector to combine for the new generation and the Yuva Shakti to be brought into the mainstream.
Mm-hmm. Sir, the union government, the union finance minister hiked capital gain tax. How do you react to this?
I think there are some concessions in the tax which has been given. Government also has to raise the taxation from the other sources. So I think some give and take has to take place in the budget.
I will give a 10 out of 10 to the budget because in a way, this is a very focused budget for employment generation and still keeping the fiscal consolidation intact as well as ensuring that the focus on infrastructure continues. There have been, of course, demands from various states like Bihar, and they have also been given adequate funding. But overall, job creation has been the framework with fiscal consolidation of having a fiscal deficit of 4.9%, and for the next financial year, it's going to be 4.5%. So broadly speaking, without tinkering with tax proposals, in a way, the government and the Honorable Finance Minister has been able to achieve a lot on job creation and employment generation, which has been a bugbear over last full year, including being an election agenda. And that's where they have also this time included private sector in creating a training and internship for our top 500 companies. Will also be providing 10 million youth or 1 crore youth new jobs, which is a phenomenal achievement in getting the private sector to do it. But also the other side, they've agreed to give some incentives for like a first salary over 3 tranches to even other companies, and allowed CSR budget to be used for these things, as well as the EPFO. I mean, the PF also, some portion of that will be provided by the government. So overall, this focus of this budget, I would say it's job creation.
So what do you have to say about the STT and this short-term and long-term capital gain?
In a way, people had expected much larger. This is much smaller changes, and that's what has kind of given some relief to people who were expecting, given the criticism of derivatives that was going on over last several months about over trading and all. The number changes are not that high, and that has given some comfort to the market.